welcome back to Lessons Learned. I'm Sherry, and this is Finish It Friday, where we look at what I finished and what you finished. So I do have a few submissions this week on the email, but first I want to tell you what I've got done. As you can see behind me here, I have my Jolly Bar quilt done. This is a Jolly Bar called Rhubarb, Strawberries and Rhubarb from Fat Quarter Shop. And I used the enclosed pattern that goes with it, which was called Sweetie Pie. And I used some leftover fabric here and kind of a newsprint to go with it, which kind of made it a little bit dull. So my idea was to brighten it up a little bit. And so I used some floral elements from Art Gallery Fabric as the sashing, which in a coral. And that pulled out a lot of the coral shades here, and then I used a grunge dot in kind of a bright green there, and then I have a motif fabric that I had gotten from So Yeah in a 5-yard cut, so I could cut lengths of fabric to get my complete borders, and I'll probably use that for the backing as well. And that is called Emma, and I don't remember the designer of it, but it was for Moda. So it turned out to be a cute little springy, summery quilt, and that is all finished. So I did get that finished this week. I did get all of my stars finished. I have 4 stars here, and if you remember back, this is the first one that I did, which is my absolute favorite, but then I have them in other stony background shades as well, and that's the Stonehenge Surfaces fabric behind the stars, and the Hues fabric from Benartex is what the reds and pinks are. I'm trying to make this into a wall hanging of 4, and I've been taking my scraps from the paper piecing. As you know, the paper piecing will sometimes yield some pretty decent odd shaped scraps, so I've been making up some of these to use as binding in my design. Not binding, but sashing or borders, something like that. There will definitely be something in between those, something solid probably, in a gray or a dark gray. So I'm working on that. So I made some progress on that. I still have all of my extra fabrics laying out here beside that so that I can continue to work on that and get that finished. So didn't quite make it on that, but I did get all 4 of my blocks done, and I think that's the only things that I really no, I did my 2 hours. I did my two hours of happy days, and I know you all have seen these already, but what I had left to do was the actual machine applique on all of the petals. And I got that all done within the 2 hours, and that was actually today. Not today for you, but yesterday for you. But anyway, I had 3 minutes to spare. So the actual number 1 blocks for this, or maybe it was the number 2 month, is finished. So I still have my number 3 and number 4 to get done, and there's already another one on the way. I saw the notification come in today, so a little at a time. But I think if I do the 2 hours a week on it, I will eventually maybe get caught up and get on time with that. So other blocks are starting to come in that I need to work on. The So Yeah Friends subscription box block came in, and then I will have Barn Star sampler to do here pretty soon. But other than that, I'm just kind of picking up some new projects here and there. And I also fiddled with my scraps some this week as well. And my, I don't know if you all keep your selvages, but I keep my selvages. So I got those out and tried to get those under control. I just barely bit into those though. So I'm just sewing those out on some plain muslin so that I can use those for future projects. So that's what has been happening here in my quilty world this week. So I'm going to go ahead and go on into the email and see what we have to show this week from you viewers. The first one I have is from Marcella, and Marcella has sent us a quite a few projects that she's gotten done. I'm going to read what she has coming up on the screen, but I'll show the pictures last so that you can kind of get a idea of where all these came from. So she says, "Hi Sherry, love your channel. I keep forgetting to send you pictures of quilt tops I have finished in July and August." So over the course of 2 years, Marcella has done at least these 6 tops. The first one is a Scrapbuster challenge from a Facebook group, 2023 Scrapbuster challenge. I think I'll go ahead and show those as I talk about them, other than waiting to the end. So you can see there she's done half square triangles with all of her scraps. Either those were cut-offs from other projects she was working on, or maybe she just took her scraps and made half square triangles. Either way, that's a super simple way to use up a bunch of scraps, and it makes for a very beautiful, brightly colored quilt. And she's got a couple of borders around there as well. Very nice. Number 2 is the Flying Home Free Moda pattern. Flying Home. You see she's got some pinky peach grunge in the background, and then her giant flying geese are arranged on there in a cool way, coming out from the corners and then out from the center. Very nice. And you've got a purple border on that one. I love that grunge color. That's kind of neat. The third one is a wedding quilt. Looks like Stephanie's Stitches hosted that one. That's a little smaller, what do you call it? Like a couch quilt. Very pretty in the aquas and the pinks and the blacks. Very nice. Does look like a proper wedding quilt. That design there and the colors that you've chosen. And then she has another scrappy quilt that she did here that was just from her scraps that she made up, and it looks like they are 16 patches with a little thin black sashing and sashing and border, and then a large black border. Very nice. I love those scrappy quilts. And then she has one called I think that's called Limoncello. And this was a Missouri Star tutorial. And we see there she's used yellows and blacks and grays and maybe some white. And she's got 3 borders on there with all of those colors. Nice big quilt there in the just your basic sawtooth star. Very easy to do. And it is very impactful once you get it all put together. And then the last one is tulips, and this was a quilt block swap in a Facebook group. So the tulips here, you can see that she's got her tulips running in opposite directions in each block, and a little whimsy there ever so often with, I guess that's to represent a butterfly there. With the 2 half square triangles facing each other. And she's used a nice dark teal sashing and border, and then another pink grunge border. Love that. Like those colors. Very, very cheerful quilt. You have been busy, Marcella, and we appreciate all your hard work. It's all beautiful and well done. Dolly has some finishes as well this week. She says, "Hot off the machine. I just finished this quilt this evening." This was a few days ago. "Sewing on scrappy leftovers of binding totally by machine. The only purchase I had to make was a yard of the light gray for the small rectangles. It's a throw quilt finishing at around 52 by 58. I call it strips weave. And the long straight strips inspired me to finally try out our curvy ruler for ruler quilting on my Jazz 2. If you remember, you and I both bought it after I used a curved design stencil in my walking foot to curvy quilt another of my quilts. Yes, I do remember that, and I did try that on my machine I had a little bit of difficulty with the thickness of it, not working well with my machine. This is the one that we both got, and you know, it should produce the effect that I want if it was the right thickness. So I have yet to work out that little detail. All right, and then she gave me some tips on that as well. And then you can see all that quilting there with this ruler on that quilt that she did with the long bars, and then the short bars in white. And then her the backing is that purple, and I love your kitty. I used to have a kitty that looked just like that. And then her last one here is also a scrappy little smaller quilt. It's a 32-inch square string quilt that I made up just to see what it would look like with a lot of white. I feel like it looks like gemstones set into pave diamond work. The binding edge actually lies flat, but I just got it out from being put up and didn't take time to press it out nicely. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, there it is with her strip blocks with a lot of white to kind of really set off the colorfulness of those strip blocks. And each of them aren't pure white. They have a little design in them too, which is you know, really ties it all together. And I love your piano key border and how you did your scrappy cornerstones there. That's interesting. I might like to try that sometime. Very nice work, Dolly. Dolores has some more projects that she has gotten finished. This is a quilt that she did for a baby shower, a new baby that's coming soon, and the nursery is decked out in baseballs. So she found some perfect baseball fabric there, and that's what you see in the lighter sections of the quilt. And then she's used red and navy to complement that. And she's got her nice label on the back there. And then she also made up some burp cloths and bibs, I think she said, or maybe it's just burp cloths. Yeah, for a friend to kind of accompany the set to the recipient. So using up all that fabric. Very good, very good. Great job. And then Lori, she made the practice block on the foundation paper piecing project. In our instructions for this heart, we also got another set of instructions for a practice block, which was very easy. It was a house with a pine tree beside it, a little sun in the center, very easy to familiarize yourself with FPP. And she hasn't gone on to her hearts yet, but she did get this little block done, and she learned some lessons with that. We see one little area where it didn't quite reach, but I think you could use that block, Lori. Just go ahead and put some a zigzag stitch across your roof or something there, and tack that down. I think you could use that little block in something, despite the little short piece there that was not quite long enough. And she said it was fun, and she's looking forward to picking out fabrics for the heart. Marjorie has a finished Barn Star sampler quilt. She actually sent us 3 quilts, and I will read what she says. She says, here are 3 quilts I finished this past week. I have an older Gamma long arm that is hand guided using pantographs. I was ready to just get the Barn Star sampler done. You sound like Pat Sloan. That's what she said today in her video. Pulling it out each month, putting the blocks up, and deciding colors for the next set of blocks was frustrating. Tell me about it. I know your pain. I included the pattern covers for the other 2 quilts in case anyone was curious. The pattern covers? Oh, I see what you're saying. So we see her Barn Star here, and she used a lot of the blues and greens that was used in the original pattern, as well as some really bright yellows and orangey reds there too. And I noticed your border at the top and the bottom that you did to pull out, pulled from all those fabrics that you used. And love your quilting on there. And she's got her quilt label in the corner. It's all bound and ready to go. Nice blue leafy backing. Her second quilt is a black background with some on the point bars, I guess you would call it. Love your quilting on there. She did that freehand on her long arm. That pattern is called Eclectica Set Spinning, if you're looking for it. Eclectica Set Spinning. It looks like you used mostly, I was going to say batiks, but those aren't batiks. I recognize the line. I think the line is actually called Eclectica, isn't it? I think I have some of that fabric. Very pretty. And then the other one she did was from the pattern called Kyra from GE Designs. This is it here. She's done it in tans and grays and browns with a cream background. Very nice. That's a nice pattern. That makes a very pleasing effect to the eye. And your quilting looks great. Thank you, Marjorie. Those are very well done. Congratulations for getting your Barnstar sampler finished and all quilted and put together. That's awesome. Quite a feat because that's a large quilt. Okay, Pat has one. This is finally another UFO finish. This is from a quilt kit purchased last year, designed by Debbie Meddy, that measures 84 by 108, called Tochi. T-O-C-H-I. I love the large blocks, and I have never made flying geese so large. Pat from Washington State. Yes, that is a very large quilt, and those blocks are giant. I think I've seen that pattern before. It reminds me at least of one that Donna Jordan did. But yes, those are really nice large flying geese, but look at the effect it makes. It's very impactful. Nice blues and golds and a light background. Beautiful. Great job. Joy said she's been working on this quilt for a friend, and she's named it Beach Glass. Her friend is ill, and she's hoping it brings her comfort in her healing. Oh, that's sweet. It's very nice of you to do that. Love the teals and blues. Nice backing as well. The white really is kind of pulling it all together there, adding a lot of that good beachy feel with the white in between. Very pretty. She's going to love that. I'm sure it will make her feel better. Let's see, I believe that's all I have this week. Yes, it is. That is it. And I hope everyone continues to work on their projects until they're finished. I still have some I haven't finished, as you well know, and I'm plugging along as best as I can and always throwing a new one in there from time to time. So just making it interesting for myself and for you as well. I've always kind of operated that way, where you know, I kind of like to have a lot of things going at the same time. That way, if I get bored or frustrated with one, I can move to another for a while and then come back to it. So that's what we do, isn't it? So I will be looking forward to all of you back here on Monday Quilt Chat to see what's in store for next week. I don't even know myself what's in store for next week, but I've got to get going because we're going to have that September stash busting month with no buying. So I've got to get some things together for us all to make up using only our stash. Someone suggested we should call it Stash Timber. So I might just do that. Either way, get your things out and see what you've got and start planning some projects for next month without buying anything. And I hope all of you have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon. Bye.